Hello, welcome to Telecom TV. I'm Martin Warwick. I'm talking with an old friend, Andrew Coward, who is the founder and the CEO of Lumina Networks. Andrew, great to see you. Thanks for coming in straight off a long flight. You're not showing many signs of jet lag yet, but who knows what will happen. If you fall off the chair, we'll pick you up. Let's begin with this. First of all, you've received at Lumina, which was spun out of Brigade last August, so 9 months ago or so. You've just received your Series A funding, $10 million. Obvious question, where did the money come from? Who gave you it? And what are you going to do with it?
Yep, so we're very fortunate that Verizon have led this investment round, also involved at AT&T and a number of angel investors who have been with us from day one. So that's kind of where the money's come from. Obviously, both AT&T and Verizon very much involved in open source and networking and the OpenDaylight project. And so obviously this was a kind of natural extension of that work to want to make sure that companies like Lumina are successful in the marketplace. From a product perspective, what we're doing with the money, a couple of things. We're continuing to productize OpenDaylight into specific use cases around the wide area network, the core, the MPLS core of networks, and in the data center. And not just with service providers, with web scale and large enterprises too, who kind of recognize the same movement and basically want to make sure that open source is a foundation for the network going forward. Also geographic expansion. So we've had success obviously in North America with AT&T and Verizon. Also in Australia, we've had success there. We'll actually expand our office locations in Japan and put more resources into our existing offices in the UK, where we recognize a very big opportunity in Europe to kind of really grow in the same way as the US carriers have into the carrier space and large enterprises there too.
Andrew, you mentioned a couple of times Verizon, and we know that Verizon led out with this Series A funding, followed by AT&T and your angel investors, Michael and Gabriel and the others. But seriously, Verizon have been very supportive of Lumina from the very outset, have they not? What's the relationship like with them?
Yeah, I don't think we'd have left Brocade as Lumina Networks without the support of Verizon as a customer from day one. And certainly we've been very involved with projects they have in open source and OpenDaylight to basically automate and digitize the services that they have across the network. So this has been a kind of strong relationship and really us as Lumina being able to provide the services that they need so they in turn can bring open source to their network.
Do you think it's the first time that Verizon and AT&T have actually invested in the same company at the same time?
Well, it's probably the first time they've jointly invested in an open source networking company, such as Lumina Networks for sure. If you look at the reasons why they would both come together and do that, then it's fundamentally around the fact that open source is key to the future of their networks. And so rather than sit on the sidelines investing in a company that's really set its sights on delivering solution sets and skills into that environment, it's really key to them.
Andrew, can we talk about partnerships? We're told constantly how important partnerships are in the global communications industry. You at Lumina have been a torchbearer for OpenDaylight from the very off. Can I ask you how this is playing out with the greater vendor community? And what I'm really asking is, do they see you as a friend or do they see you as a foe?
Well, certainly pretty much the entire vendor community ends up working with us to deploy into the networks in North America or Asia or wherever. And so consequentially, we end up with agreements with pretty much all the major vendors as a consequence. And we work with them on debugging and making the Yang models or the netconf, all the things we do work smoothly together. Now, sometimes they're less willing than others, depending on what we're doing. What's interesting too, though, is that quite a number of the vendors who need to be able to put an open source card on the table with the customer and say, yes, we do work with this and we can bring this in, are partnering very strongly with us into customers in Europe particularly to demonstrate that, yes, we do get this and we're working with Lumina Networks.
Well, Andrew, 9 months in, you've got a new round of funding in. Congratulations on that. Onward and upwards, I suppose.
Yeah.
Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Martin.